Okay, there we go. So, I will be your guide to the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering set release, which has just been officially revealed. Let's see here. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. So, official webpage is up. A bunch of details are officially out there for the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set release. So, let's go ahead and talk about it. This is more meant as a primer for those of you who are aware of Magic but have never really played or know the details about it, or for Final Fantasy fans who or for people who want to know what exactly to buy when it comes to this set. So, today is the 18th of February. This was a first look at the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set. The Final Fantasy set is going to come out on June. The reason why they do this so early is to build up hype, and also there is a set in between now and the Final Fantasy set that they still have to do. They're probably going to be doing a first look preview of that next week at a Magic the Gathering convention. That is also going to coincide with a major Magic the Gathering tournament. So Final Fantasy, obviously super big, popular product. This is a shift. This is also going to mark a shift as to sort of Magic the Gathering's design philosophy going forward. Just to break it down as much as possible. Basically, previous sets like this, previous crossover sets, were very limited in sort of its power level, because previously we've had Doctor Who as a Magic the Gathering set, we've had Fallout as a Magic the Gathering set, we've had Warhammer 40k as a Magic the Gathering set. We've had, but all three of those products, crossovers, were only limited to collector boosters and commander decks, which are the collector boosters are for just specifically collecting cards and maybe blinging out other products, and commander decks are 100-card singleton, very casual products. Not to mention, or not to say that they don't have some competitive application, but typically they are much lower power level. We've also had the Assassin's Creed crossover, which was, I think a lot of people will agree, kind of an abysmal failure, because the set product for that was no commander product. Basically, every booster was at minimum $10 and only got you 6 cards. Their aim was Modern Legality, which is a competitive 60-card format, but it failed because none of the cards were really that good, except for a single card, which was an uncommon, and it's a very fringe competitive play. Arguably the biggest set in terms of 60-card competitive was the Middle Earth Tales of Middle Earth set, the Lord of the Rings crossover. That's where way back when, about 2 or 3 years ago, if you paid attention to socials or news at all, there was the big hubbub about the One of One ring, which, if you guys don't know the story, basically Magic made a one of one card of the One Ring in the black script of Sauron, and randomly placed it in a booster pack and just went, okay, everyone go find it. There were bounties placed on that card by various card shops. I think the highest that I saw before it was found was about $1.5 million. And the person who found it turned it all down, apparently got in touch with Post Malone and sold it to him for $2.2 million, making it one of the highest selling Magic the Gathering cards of all time. It's graded, it's sealed, all that good stuff. And for about a period of about a year and a half now, it was the highest selling Magic the Gathering card. Now it's once again Black Lotus. If you guys don't know, Black Lotus, very infamous card. So yeah, there is that. But basically, Tales of Middle-earth was the only real major mover and shaker when it came to a competitive 60 card, just because the One Ring's super powerful, Orcish Bowmasters is pretty powerful. They had like 3 separate product releases for Tales of Middle-earth, with all these various treatments and whatnot. But now we are at Final Fantasy, and this will mark the very first time a Universes Beyond product will be standard legal. And what that means is that it's expected to be reasonably powerful. It's not going to be as powerful as something like Tales of Middle-earth with a couple of cards, but basically it is going to be playable in almost every single format that there is, for about a period of, I think it's now 3 years, and once that 3 years is up, it'll rotate out of the Magic the Gathering rotating format and only be available in what are dubbed eternal formats or non-rotating formats. But yeah, preamble out of the way, I know that there were a lot of questions about the product. Basically, there's a lot of products that you can get out of. One of the first things that are going to be available for you to get once the products are released is the play boosters, the collector boosters, the commander decks, both versions, as well as the pre-release packs. Going into detail, I would say if you are super interested in picking up the product, go to a local store, call a local store, ignore Amazon. Amazon really became one of Magic's like major international distributors as of late, but a lot of people have expressed dissatisfaction with Amazon itself, mostly because there are people who use Amazon very dishonestly, resealing packs, basically opening packs, taking all the rares out, resealing the packs, and then selling them for a profit. So I would say avoid Amazon as much as possible. Play boosters are your standard 14-card booster packs. They're going to contain 1 to 3 rares. There's a chance that they contain some very special cards, which I will get into the special treatments that we know of right now, as well as some of the cards that we know of. But the big thing about the main set, so outside of the commander decks, the thing about the main set is that these are random cards. You get commons, uncommons, rares, and mythic rares, and they're going to be from all over Final Fantasy's mainline history. They did confirm that spin-offs and other things of the sort, so games like Final 10-2, 13-2, remake, remaster, all that sort of stuff, they're not going to be focused on that. They're going to be focused on the original numeric games. So, yeah, there is that. Play boosters are pretty cheap in comparison to collector boosters. Play boosters are usually like MSRP $7 or $8 per play booster, or you can get a box of, I think right now the pre-sale price is about $180 for 30 of them, which is going to be comparable to the one of the collector's edition commander products, which I will get into in just a moment. But if you're just looking to just crack a whole bunch of play boosters, draft them, play a game, play some sealed with some friends, this is the product that you want. Collector boosters are more aimed at people who want to bling out decks or collect them. This is a higher collation of like higher rarity cards, as well as like the different treatments that I will get into in just a moment. I think MSRP on these is usually like $20 a pack, and I think it's usually like 11 to 12 cards a pack, but they are guaranteed to have the alternate arts and all the cards. Usually all the cards are foil, or like all minus 1 or 2 of them are foil. I don't really open collector boosters all that much, but you also get the highest chance to get some of the alternate arts. Like, if you're aiming for a specific alternate art, you're generally want to open a collector boosters. I think for these, it's usually like $300 MSRP for a for like 10 to 15 collector boosters. So if you're seeing stores sell them for more than $300 for a box of these, like just go away. Just to let you guys know, MSRP is a very big deal when it came to Magic. A couple of years ago, Wizards of the Coast got rid of MSRP, and players were getting gouged out of their goddamn minds when it came to booster packs, as well as like card prices, which are usually tied into not only how expensive a booster pack is nowadays, but also like how powerful a card is. So there is that. As for more main stuff, the bundle is usually a very decent option. I'm able to pick up a bundle at my Walmart for like $50, and usually, I believe it usually contains like five, 6, or 7 booster packs, as well as a little dice, and has the box as well to store cards in them. Like, I have a whole collection of bundle boxes in my shelf that you guys may or may not be able to see, but they're there. Trust me. I don't want to pull them out, but if you're looking to pick something up and have like a place to store your cards in, the bundle's not a bad option. Again, $50. And usually it comes with a unique promo. They haven't revealed what that unique promo is, but in the past, like, the promos generally are not super valuable or like super good, apart from like maybe 1 or 2 of them in the past. So it is definitely worth it to at least investigate it a little bit. The gift bundle, think of it more as a deluxe version of the bundle. Typically, this is, I think, usually runs about $70 from what I've seen at my Walmart. And one of the boosters is effectively replaced with a collector's booster. Again, you also get different box artwork, as well as all foil lands, I want to say, which is the shiny lands, and a different spin down life counter, as it says. So there's that. Starter kit, I generally don't look at, but I do recognize the importance of having a starter product. Basically, if you're looking to play Magic for the first time and you've got a friend to just play games with, pick up the starter kit. The 2 decks are going to feature Sephiroth and Cloud, as you can see on it. But generally speaking, I just don't buy it, mostly because the starter kit cards are usually pretty cheap to pick up as singletons, which I usually go to a online retailer that specifies in picking up singleton cards. So there is that. Pre-release packs. So what exactly are these? Well, game stores typically who order these run these events called pre-releases. It used to be that pre-release happened about a week or so before the official release of official, quote-unquote, release of a product that would mark the start of its standard legality. Nowadays, pre-release is just release. When a product is released nowadays, stores also run these pre-release events. Basically, if you enter in these pre-release events, usually these are about $40 to $50. You get 6 packs of the product and one unique pack with I think it's a date stamp promo, usually marking the pre-release dates, as well as a special spin down counter, like something like this. If you guys want to take a look at it, it's stuff like that. But yeah, this is usually your first chance to play with these cards. You're typically building a 40 card sealed deck with these packs and your promo. Double check with your store if you're planning on trying to get one of these, though, because sometimes stores will like overstock these pre-release packs and sell them individually. And again, usually they run about $40 to $50. So it's not bad. But the big thing that I know that everyone is excited for are the commander decks. Commander decks are 100 card singleton meant for casual play. The details on these specific commander decks is that every card in each respective deck is themed after the game that the deck represents. So if you actually take a look at the image, we can see Y'shtola, we can see Tidus, we can see Cloud, and we can see Teria. Is that her name? Let me double check. Or Terra. Yeah, Terra? Yeah, Terra. So all the cards in them are going to be themed after, if you get the Y'shtola deck, they're going to be themed after Final Fantasy XIV. Tidus, all of his cards are going to be themed after Final Fantasy X. Cloud's Final Fantasy VII, and Terra Final Fantasy VI. These are very casual decks. Very typically, they are 100 card singleton, so they are pretty chunky to shuffle. But if you are not looking to play 60 card competitive decks, and you're just looking to like maybe jam a game or chill out once you've actually learned how to play, 100 card singleton is not a bad idea. I believe MSRP on those is about $70 to $80 typically, and then there is a collector's edition where every single card is in a special foil they call surge foiling, and these are usually like 100 to 40, 100 to 50, 150. You can get these at big box stores as well when they release, like both versions, but typically at my Walmart, I find that there's usually only like one of the decks that does not sell, and the rest sell out, and my Walmart typically does not restock them. But although yours might, who knows? So yeah, that's the breakdown on each product. By and large, you need to pick and choose which one you're interested in. Like, for example, if you're just looking to collect the cards, you're not looking to play them or anything, you can go with the play boosters, but I would actually recommend going for the collector boosters just because you get more of those special artworks and have a better chance at collecting the special artworks that you want. If you're like me and love to just play the game, if you love a limited format or whatever, the Final Fantasy play boosters are typically what you want, and also going out to the pre-release is typically what you want to do. And also the bundles as well, just because you can like split the packs that you get into 2 piles for like a 2-person draft, potentially. If you're looking to give someone a gift, yeah, there is the gift bundle, but also like a collector booster will be nice. There's the collector's edition commander products as well, so on and so forth. So they've got options for everyone. But what exactly is in the sets? Well, to start off with, there are the 4 commander cards, as shown in the commander decks. These are exclusive to the commander decks. They will not be in the main set itself, but they did say that these characters will have versions of them in the main set. Same thing for the starter kit. So Terra, Cloud, Tidus, Y'shtola, and Sephiroth will have main set versions. Typically, the commander set and the starter kit cards are less powerful. But they also might, but these cards also typically have a lot of color coverage to allow you to play more diverse strategies in Commander. And I'm not going to go into the entire philosophy of the Commander set, but if you are wanting to learn more about Commander, I highly suggest that you do so. But basically the gist of it is you have a card that is your leader, and you can only put spells in your deck whose colors include who does not include colors that are not a part of your leader, and includes one of the colors that is your leader. So, for example, if I wanted to play Tidus, I could put in white spells, blue spells, and green spells in my deck, but I could not put in black or red spells in my deck. And also, you get to cast your commander for your or at any time. Basically, there's a whole mechanic for it. But yeah, so going into the spoilers. This is all that they've shown off in terms of the set so far. I actually want to talk about some of the alternate arts really quickly, because the alternate arts are not going to be a part of every single play booster. These are the arts that you're going to see a lot more of in the collector booster. So if you're just looking for the wood block prints, which I can actually give you an IRL example of what the wood block print might look like, because they did say that they're sort of running back these sort of lands from the Kamigawa. And these are actually some of the most beautiful lands that I own right now. Stuff like Sin, Spear's Punishment, and Stiltskin, they're not going to be part of every single play booster, but they will be a part of every single collector booster. Same thing with Shiva, Emmett Selch, Cecil, and the Jumbo Cactuar. You also have your starter kit cards. Oh, Final Fantasy Through the Ages. So this is... I'm actually going to talk about that later, because this is not a part of the main set. This is a part of what they dubbed the bonus sheet, which is a extra group of cards that occasionally happens in limited formats. Basically, it's a sheet of cards that is added to booster packs in its own sort of separate rarity. What they're doing for... I may as well just explain it for it right now. I don't think that they mentioned if it's going to be like the retro artifacts from Brothers War, or... oh my god, what was the other stuff? Like the Enchanting Tale cards... from Wilds of Eldraine, the Mystical Archive, because in every single one of those instances, there was a additional card in every single play booster at various rarities that could only be played in that limited format, and what did not make it standard legal or not. Some of these cards are super fun. Some of these cards are very valuable in terms of like to other players, because they are very hard to get. Like, for instance, Ancient Copper Dragon, which in this set is going to be represented by the Dragon of Mount Golg, is a very hard to get card, because it's only ever had a single printing. And if the bonus sheet is in every single play booster, that means that it is going to become a lot easier to get. It's probably still going to be at a higher than normal rarity, or a higher than rare rarity. But if it's what is dubbed a special guest card, which are cards that like have a absurdly high like chance to be in a play booster. I think it's something like 1 in every 20 or 25 boosters, there is a chance for one of the cards to be a special guest card. Then Ancient Copper Dragon, or Yakiro, the Tiger Shadow, which Yuffie is representing Yuriko in this instance, then these two cards are going to be extremely, extremely valuable. And I don't think that the collector boosters have any higher chance of having special guest cards. So if you're opening packs specifically for stuff like this, you're basically going to have to wait for more news, just because we don't know what exactly they mean by the bonus sheet at the moment. But these are probably going to be some of the most valuable and rarest cards in the set at the moment. But yeah, the borderless stuff like Spira, stuff like Emmett Selch and his character borderless, the woodblock borderless, just regular extended art. Typically, these are higher than rare rarities in the play boosters, but they're pretty much everywhere in the collector boosters. So if you're just looking to collect the alternate arts on any of these cards, go look at the collector boosters. And yeah, this is just the card list that as we know it right now. And again, it just draws from every single Final Fantasy property. We do every single mainline Final Fantasy property, I should say. Again, they did mention no spin-offs or sequels. So there is that. Yeah, Tactics Erasure, unfortunately. I would not be surprised, though, if they snuck in some sort of reference to Tactics, though. Because it was mentioned in the video that they do have, like, some set dressings from Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth in particular. But the main focus is on the Final Fantasy VII game. The original Final Fantasy VII game. What else is there to say about this set? I did basically break down every single product. Again, if you're looking to buy these, please, first off, double check with your local game store. I know that pre-orders are open at nearly every single big box store, as well as Amazon. Please try to avoid Amazon as much as possible. But just support your locals, please. I think that's really it in terms of like the Final Fantasy information that we know of right now. Again, there is funny stuff that I can talk about. But yeah, I think I should just talk about the cards right now. Starting off with Side Quest to Catch a Fish. Oh my god. Who is... Oh. There is a game on my wish list that is on sale right now. Okay. But yeah, Side Quest to Catch a Fish, 2 mana, or 3 mana, 2 and a white enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or a creature, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card in your hand, into your hand this way, create a food token and transform this enchantment. And it transforms into the Cooking Campsite. Tap for a white, 3 and tap, sack an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Very flavorful for Final Fantasy 15, obviously. Got Ignis and Noctis bantering away at whatnot. They did mention that there are a total of 5 side quests / mini games that are going to be printed in this dual face form, and got really coy when Blitzball was mentioned. So I would expect Blitzball to be the blue one. I imagine that it's just going to be a full cycle. There's going to be a red one, there's going to be a green one, there's going to be a black one and a blue one in addition to this one. And I would not be surprised if it was all just lands, like dual face that has a utility land backside. Stiltskin, Moogle Merchant. A single white for a 1/2 legendary creature Moogle. They did mention that they tried their best to avoid creating new creature types, but Moogle was just one of those that they had to put in because, like, it's a Moogle. What is there to talk about? Lifelink 2, tap, target opponent gains control of another target permanent you control. If they do, you draw a card. Stiltskin's super cool. It's definitely going to be a part of the 99 in Zedru the Great-Hearted decks, which, if you don't know, is all about donating cards. Like, he's going to be very fun And there are also, like, some combos now, I think, with this card in particular, and other standard cards. So I think Stiltskin's actually going to be a really powerful card when it comes to standard in particular, because isn't there something in Foundations you want to donate away? No, you're good. You're good. You're fine. Like it's typically like there's this type of effect is called a donation effect because of the card Generous Donation. Uh, but yeah, Steltskin, super fun card, has its places in decks, and you will definitely probably see someone try to give someone a very bad card that will frequently try to kill them. This is actually a new card design that they're trying out. The first ever Saga enchantment creature, the summon Shiva. They did mention that they tried to do the summons in several other forms, mostly trying to give them fading or vanishing, but this is probably the cleanest version I think that they could have ever done. 3 double blue. When it enters and after your draw step, add a lore counter. You sacrifice it once it hits 3 lore counters, and the ability resolves, I want to say. The first 2 ones basically just tap a creature and put a stun counter on it. And the third one, you draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. It's a 4/5, which is not too bad, but considering it's on an enchantment creature and it can't attack for the first turn, and it's going to be sacrificed after the third turn, unless it can remove counters on the Saga. You're only going to get 1 swing with it, which ain't exactly that great, but if you got a way to mass tap down creatures, that third ability is going to do you very well. And they also said that this is the first time that they've done flavor text for the Sagas, and flavor text is not the only thing that you are going to see on the Sagas. So that gives me an idea that maybe something like, I don't know, Ifrit's going to have first strike. Something like, I'd be very surprised if, like, Ifrit, which is a very big, like, Final Fantasy regular, does not show up in some way, have first strike, and just lights people on fire. I will be very surprised. Also, I think they said that there's summons at every rarity. So I think stuff like the secret summons are going to be like mythic rares, I would assume, and then more regular summons, I wouldn't be surprised if those were like commons and uncommons, because Shiva is a very regular appearing summon in the Final Fantasy games. So that's just sort of how I choose to interpret it. You've also got an alternate art for this one as well. The colorless Bahamut? Potentially. Potentially. Cecil the Dark Knight, another card that was shown off, has 2 different printings on it. You have his borderless character portrait, and you have his extended art. Cecil, a very, very, very strong card to start off with. Just a single mana for a 2/3 body. Absurdly strong just right off the bat. Like, that is close to Goblin Guide stats, and Modern doesn't even play Goblin Guide anymore because there are just so many better 1-drops in red that do not have the downside of Goblin Guide. And for Cecil, it's just all upside because he's got Death Touch. His only real downside is if he deals damage, you lose life. But then if you have less than your starting life total, or half your starting life total, he becomes his Paladin side. which is a 4/4, has lifelink, and makes blocking for your opponents absolutely miserable because he's the only one that they can kill when he attacks. Like, this guy's just good at all portions of the game, whether it be early in the game, whether it be late in the game. The only thing you got to be aware of is if you're like down to your last 1 or 2 life, because it does not matter if you deal damage to your opponent, which I originally like missed. It's just when he deals damage, period. So late in the game, he doesn't really work as well as you want him to, but considering that Cecil is both black and white, you probably have like a couple of ways to gain life and tank the hit. So we'll see. Obviously, you got to have the Tonberry. As another single black creature, this one's an uncommon. It's a 2/1, which is about on rate for single mana cards, I would say. He comes with a downside. He enters tapped with a stun counter on it, which means that it takes him 2 turns to actually get started. But he's got the upside of having First Strike and Death Touch on your turn. Give him a packed weapon or something that says when this creature deals damage to your opponent, they lose the game. And he probably like becomes an actual Tonberry. As far as things goes, I feel like Tonberry's a little weaker. Yes, you are correct. You have to specifically lose life with Cecil. He has to survive, and then he does a life total check on you that basically says, do you have less than your do you have half or less than your starting life total? So in Commander, he's going to check if you have 20. In Standard, he's going to check in 60 card, he's going to check if you have 10, at which point, if you fulfill that check, he's going to flip. But that full ability has to resolve. If you are able to prevent the damage, I don't think that he'll do it. I don't know. I'll have to ask a judge about it because it definitely feels like you need to lose the life before it does the life total check. But yeah, Tonberry, an uncommon. You're going to be seeing a lot of this guy running around a lot, despite the fact that usually he's like a kind of a rare enemy. Maybe they're saving like stuff like the Malboro for like rare or mythic rare status. Who knows? Dragon of Mount Golg, aka Ancient Copper Dragon, already talked about this one. Again, this card is going to be very dependent on like what the bonus sheet specifically entails, but it is basically going to be a mythic rare on the bonus sheet, meaning like even if the bonus sheet is in every single play booster, you're probably only going to be seeing this like maybe 1 in every 100 packs or something, 1 in every 50. I don't know. But it's going to be a very valuable card because it's only ever had 1 printing. And that 1 printing is still north of like $80. So yeah, prices are absolutely horrid, but this is probably going to be the card that demands a large portion of its price just because it has the Yoshitaka Amano art. It's got the promo material. If it's in less packs, if the bonus sheet is not in every single play booster, it's probably going to be something like $125 would be my best guess, conservatively. But it's also going to be in a standard legal printing, which means that it's going to be printed a lot. So I would expect the prices to be coming down a little, for the Commander Legends Battles of Baldur's Gate card, just because this one is so special. But it's not going to be standard legal. It's not Pioneer. It's not even modern legal. But it is a very awesome and solid card. And it also means this is going to be arena legal. So you're going to see this in even more in Historic or any sort of Reanimator deck. Next up on our list is Jumbo Cactuar. This is a card that I see a lot of people freaking out about. This card needs to be banned. It doesn't need to be banned. 7 mana, 5 green for a plant. It is a 1/7 because obviously when you think about the Cactuar, you think about Final Fantasy VII. Go figure. But whenever it attacks, it gets 9,999 plus 9,999 and plus 0 until end of turn. So yeah, if you get to 7 mana, you play this card and then you get to untap. Then you get to win once you attack with it and fling it at someone. Realistically, though, I don't think this is going to be any kind of playable in Standard or any of the other various 60-card competitive decks. Like in 100-card, this thing is going to slap because you have ways of cheating out these big creatures. Giving them haste super quickly, giving them trample. Like, you just have, like, all of these synergies that will work really well with it. But the thing is that you need to have all these synergies to make it work really well, is my take on it. Plus, you know, you finally get to kill the player who's just been doing nothing but gaining life the entire game with him. Have fun with that. Saz's Chocobo. I'm honestly shocked that Saz's Chocobo was the first Chocobo revealed. I would have expected something like, I don't know, let's just say one of the Pixel Chocobos or something like a Final Fantasy VII Chocobo. But like getting Final Fantasy 13 representation in Saz's Chocobo, that is a crazy one to me. They did mention in the first look, all the Chocobos are going to have a life gain, or not a life gain, a landfall theme to them, which is pretty cool. So this is a single green bird, uncommon. It's a 0/1. And when it enters, you get, or when a land enters, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. I don't think it's a cycle in the traditional sense, but I do believe that it's just like, if you see a Chocobo, it's going to have landfall. They did not say how many Chocobos they are, like, they did not mention that it's going to be a part of the cycle, but it's just a part of the identity of the Chocobo, is that it will have landfall. We have Emmett Selch Unsundered. Again, this is another card with 3 different printings. You've got the character portrait printings and the extended printing. 3 mana, 1 blue and a black for a 2/4 legendary creature, Elder Wizard. That is the first time I'm seeing that type line, Elder Wizard. That is crazy. With Vigilance, and whenever they enter or attack, draw a card, then discard a card, and during your upkeep, if there are 14 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Emmett Selch into Hades, Sorcerer of Eld. With Vigilance, it is a 6/6. During your turn, you may play cards from your graveyard, and if a token or card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Elder has typically been... It's typically more been like a descriptor. Like, I don't think that there's just Elder creature type by itself. It's kind of like how it's like blank construct It's sort of like more a flavor thing than anything. Like sort of the Elder Dinosaur cycle or the Elder Dragon cycle. But this is the first... It's honestly been the first time I've ever seen Elder Wizard. Like, I've never seen... I haven't even played Final Fantasy XIV. Full spoiler to everyone. But I've never seen that specific type line before, so I just find it a little cool. But yeah, for those of you who are in the know, this the effect of this card is actually Yawgmoth's Will, or / Yawgmoth's Awakening. There's various other cards that do this specific ability. Usually it's only for a turn, and typically when cards have this ability, it is very strong. It is very strong to have this ability. I would not be surprised if people are already starting to build Emmett Selch commander decks right now with the ability, or with the idea they want to mill themselves as quickly as possible, have Hades enabled like as soon as like turn 4 or 5, and just use every single resource in their power. And I would also not be surprised if this card saw standard play. I honestly feel like this card by itself in a vacuum is super powerful. And yes, agreed. A lot of wizards do need to be errata to Elder Wizard now if this is going to be the norm going forward. So we have one of the starter deck cards. We have Sephiroth, Planet's Heir for a blue and a black for a human avatar soldier. It's a 4/4. Typically don't really like to go after the starter deck cards a whole lot, but this guy is actually really strong. He's got Vigilance. When he ETBs, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Sephiroth. Which is very reminiscent of a card called Massacre Worm. And Massacre Worm... Did I... There he is. He's cheaper than Massacre Worm. He doesn't drain your opponent's life because of it. He's also in 2 colors, which is kind of restrictive in the types of decks that you can put him in, but he absolutely destroys token strategies, and he is very strong by the looks of it. I think his only limitation is the fact that he is 2 colors, and Massacre Worm is a single color, but that usually isn't a problem. Like, typically the number of pips in a... Like, the diversity of pips in a card sort of paradoxically makes it a lot more easier to cast it than normal. Like, I think Massacre Worm may be harder on average to actually cast in a 2-color deck rather than this one. No, yeah, I sort of just talked myself into a circle on it. But yeah, Sephiroth, Planet's Heir. I don't think you'll be seeing this guy in Standard unless there is a dedicated tokens deck, at which point the pricing on this guy is going to go up, but he'll probably be more of a sort of commander / fun build around instead. All right, we have Yuriko the Tiger Shadow, aka Yuffie Kisarage. And this card is not okay in the slightest. This card was originally introduced in a Commander product, which is why it has Commander Ninjutsu. 1 blue and a black, you will never cast for it. This will always be a commander, a leading commander, so that way you can use the Commander Ninjutsu. Whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana value. What is there to really say? Like, this is probably going to be the new most expensive printing right next to the Year of the Tiger printing at this point, because excuse me, just because, like, well, we don't know, again, we don't know what the collation of this bonus sheet is going to be. We do know that it's going to be in both foil and non-foil, so the foil version is probably going to be very expensive. But, I mean, it's Yuffie. People love Yuffie. She'll probably get her own dedicated like fan base for it. The only restriction is like in limited, where you will open this card. She is going to be an absolute dud because there's probably not going to be ninja support unless characters like Shadow and like the rogues are all typically the typical rogues are errata to be ninjas to help support this when you open it. But I don't think that they're going to do that in any way, shape, or form. So Yuffie's probably just going to stay where she is. We have Garland, Knight of Cornelia, a Rakdos human knight, 2 mana, 1 black, 1 red, legendary creature for 3/2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1, and then for 7 mana, 3 black, black, red, red, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed. Activate only as a sorcery. And you get Chaos the Endless, a 5/5 legendary creature demon with flying. When it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Even as you die again and again, I shall return. This one tells a story, and it's actually really cool because, like, the entire thing, spoilers for like a 30-plus-year-old game, the entire thing is like Chaos and Garland are like a time paradox, basically. Like, Garland dies very early on in the game, but becomes Chaos, and then Chaos dies and returns back to being Garland at the start of the game. Like, he is a cycle. So I actually like the design for this card. The only thing is that I think this card kind of sucks. He's probably only going to see 60 card play because there is a card called Dragon Rage Channeler in Modern that does the Surveil thing for way cheaper and flies, but doesn't get to return itself. So, I don't know. Garland is a really cool design. I think it's more important that these designs are correct rather than are powerful for this set, because it's going to appeal to the collectors as well as appeal to people who are in the know when it comes to Final Fantasy. Yeah. And plus, like, people are probably going to make a commander deck out of him. So we do have the starter deck Cloud now. We have Cloud, Planet's Champion, 5 mana, Boros, 3 red and a white for a 4/4 legendary creature, human soldier mercenary. We're just hitting all of the warrior. We're only missing like warrior as well. And I think you'd have the like full descriptor of Cloud. During your turn, as long as Cloud is equipped, it has indestructible and double strike. And equipped abilities you activate to target Cloud cost 2 less to activate. Just a fine card. I don't think he'll be in contention for any constructed 60 card play outside of the starter decks, just because at 5 mana it is a little it's a little bad. And I don't even think that people will be playing him as a commander. Like, he has no like built-in payoffs for equipping cards. He has no ways. He's got like no ways to search up equipment. So even if like your hand is totally serviceable, like there are other legendary creatures who do a similar thing to him. Even in standard right now, if I recall correctly, I think there's maybe like one or two Boros legends that just do what he does, but way better. So I would expect if you're looking to collect this set, you'll probably be able to pick him up for $1, like easy. And then the last of our main set cards, I am so glad that that Sin is in. It is Sin's Spear's Punishment in both the woodblock printing as well as the extended art and the normal art. I've just got to look at the woodblock printing because it is so pretty. 4 and a black, green, and blue. 7 mana for a 7/7 legendary creature, Leviathan Avatar. This was the card that they pointed at when they mentioned that they've made sure that every single main protagonist and antagonist of each main entry was represented in this set, and they did also mention in Sin's case, that definition was a little stretched. So if you know, you know. If you don't, Final Fantasy X Remaster is available on all modern platforms now. Go ahead and play some Final Fantasy X. He's a flyer. Whenever Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random, then create a tapped token that is a copy of that card. If the exiled card is a land card, repeat this process. It's super flavorful. Like, as someone who is a diehard Final Fantasy X stan, this card is super flavorful because that is exactly what he does in the Final Fantasy X game. If you don't know what I mean, then I really can't spell it out without spoiling, like, one of the major plot points of the game. Please play Final Fantasy X. I beg. And also, like, his primary artwork is very nice. Like, they've even got, like, the little, like, citadel, like, spires in his fins down. So, yeah. And then, finally, we're at the commander cards that they've shown off. You've got Y'shtola, Knight's Blessed, Legendary Cat Warlock, 2/4 for 4 mana. 1, a white, a blue, and a black, or as we call it in Magic, it's not Bant, it's Esper. She's got Vigilance at the beginning of each step. If a player lost 4 or more life this turn, you draw a card. Whenever you catch a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, she deals 2 damage to each opponent, and you gain 2 life. So basically, you cast a non-creature, you play her, you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, if it's still like the early parts of the game, and you get to, if you cast 2 of those, you get to draw a card to replace one of them. Like, these commanders in recent times have kind of been toned down a little bit. It used to be, like, back in the day, there were, like, some pretty powerful and absurdly powerful commanders, but they have been toned down to be a lot more accessible by everyone, and to maybe give some people a little bit of a kick in the pants to get a little ingenious with them. Like, I don't think that there is a pre-con commander as of late that everyone has just sort of agreed is kind of a problem or goes infinite at this point. Like, I think the only one might have been the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Is it Doublecaster? Excuse me, sorry. Like Stella Lee Wildcard. Just because she gets to copy stuff, and that can get out of hand very quickly, especially when you're putting in cards with the Storm mechanic in there. But Y'shtola is very cool. I can't wait to see what the rest of her 99 is. Cloud X Soldier is our next card. You've got, again, 2 red, green, and white for a 4/4 legendary creature, human, soldier, mercenary. With haste, when he enters the battlefield, attach up to 1 target equipment you control onto him. And whenever he attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if he has power 7 or greater, draw 2 or create 2 treasure tokens. I apologize. I somehow merged both of those lines together. Naya equipment I don't think is a very explored deck archetype in Commander. Like, typically it's just mono white or Boros. Like, I struggle to remember what green equipment payoffs there are. But the fact that he's also kind of missing the warrior typing does mean that he is a little bit weaker, just because some of the Zendikar like party stuff cared about warriors in equipment in a way that was very strong. But being able to have the Boros typing and the green color identity does mean that you get to do a lot of very strong stuff, and typically means that Cloud will probably be 7 power or greater. So, very interesting to see. You also got the 2 alternate arts for him. You've got the foil art for the premium product, as well as his anime art, anime borderless art, which I believe will be in collector boosters. Like, I believe all the both the foil versions of the commanders, as well as the borderless character arts, will be in commander boosters. But you can get the foil versions of these commanders in the premium commander product as well. Anyways, we got Tidus, Unita's Guardian, green, white, and a blue for a legendary creature, human warrior. He's a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. And whenever 1 or more creatures you control with counters on them deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. You only get to do it once each turn, though. So if you are somehow able to like give something double strike, it only happens once. Still. Tidus, I have seen people call him the weakest of the commander decks, just because like he has no way of enabling himself to start passing around the counters. And to that I say, you're probably just not building him right, if that is your biggest concern. Final Fantasy X, as I have alluded to, my favorite Final Fantasy, so I will be picking up Tidus as quickly as possible. And I am already starting to brew a commander deck especially for him. It's going to be interesting to see, though, because Bance does allow you to play stuff that does give you shield counters, as well as some unique ability counters. No, yeah, it is a valid concern. The hard once per turn, like, is a slight problem, but I think that it's, as I've alluded to, like, that is something that they just add to commanders now, just to limit their power, because they didn't do that in the past, and it created some of the most miserable commanders to, like, play against once people started creating their own decks with them. Like, for example, using one of my own commander decks, Prosh is kind of an issue, just because once you get an enchantment out, you just get to loop him, create infinite tokens, and then just go off like that. And And also, it means that the commander, like the commander planeswalkers, aren't completely outclassed as well, because there was that issue in the past where, like, when they started adding the commander rules text to planeswalkers, people didn't use them as their face commander because they were hard once per turns, and like some of the decks had ways to cheat the other commanders in very broken ways. But yeah, it's all going to be personal preference. Like the commanders are intentionally designed to be a little bit weaker, to compete with one another. But yeah, I probably wouldn't be bringing trying to bring Titus to like a power level 4 deck or something like that. And finally, our last commander that we have Terra, Herald of Hope, who is Mardu. That is red, white, and black for a legendary creature, human, wizard, warrior. She is a 3/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards. She gains flying until end of turn. Whenever Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. When you do, return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It did take a little bit to figure out what exactly the Final Fantasy VI deck was looking at, but the Final Fantasy VI deck is mostly looking at the second half of the game, when you are trying to rebuild your party after whatever, I think it's like, isn't that the game where Kafka is like the main villain? So like after Kafka wins is sort of what this deck is aiming to sort of like represent. Mardu Reanimator is also a very interesting deck archetype, I feel, just because there are better versions of Mardu Reanimator, but you also typically you would see more Rakdos Reanimator, but the white does allow you a lot more like flexibility in some of the cards that you get to use as reanimation spells. Like, for example, it does allow you to play stuff like Sun Titan, which is limited in what it can bring back. Like, you can... Like, there's 6,758 cards right now that this card can bring back right now. Ooh, Academy Manufactor. Okay, that's going to be an interesting one. But overall, I would say she's probably like the second strongest in terms of the commander decks. Like, if I was to evaluate the cards sort of in a vacuum right now from least to most powerful commanders, I would say Tidus and Cloud are both kind of tied, just because like if you build like inherently they do take a little bit of setup to work with, but then you've got Terra and Y'shtola as your number 2 and number 1 respectively. But all that being said, like, this set is looking to be a very strong, very good, very strong. I can't wait to see what cards they use for the commander decks, because they've got to theme them to each game. So Tidus, all of Tidus's cards are going to be themed after have Final Fantasy X artwork, as well as probably have to be themed for Final Fantasy X. Cloud, Final Fantasy VII, Y'shtola, 14, Terra, 6. All that is going to be very interesting. And I can't wait. One final thing that they did mention during the first look that they are not showing right now is that we are definitely going to get Final Fantasy Secret Lairs. Now, what that means is... For those of you who do not know, secret layers are usually about $50 to $60, or were usually about $50 or $60 for a limited drop, per print run of cards, like print on demand run of cards. So, for example, if I actually grab one of my secret layers from the back, I'll give you an example of two of them that they've done in the past. So, in the past, what they used to do was they would come in these boxes. You'd have the name of the secret layer on them. So, for instance, this one is the tattoo pack. I think this one costed me about $50, and it features unique arts for reprints, and it also contained a secret card in the bottom that I removed and ended up selling. Later on, they started offering secret layers with mechanically unique cards. So, for example, the Street Fighter secret layer does have mechanically unique cards. They also changed up the packaging for it a little. You can see I have not even completely opened this yet, but there is E Honda Sumo Champion for you. And they also do still have the little hidden card in the back. So Hadouken was the associated card for that one. But they did end up reprinting these in what they dubbed Universes Within treatment. So you can still technically get these for a lot cheaper than what I paid for. It's just not going to be the same art or the same names. The latest ones that they ended up doing this with was the Dungeons and Dragons movie cards. I assume because of an issue with likeness rights was the big one. I definitely put this back in the wrong way. But they did say that the Final Fantasy, there are going to be associated Final Fantasy secret layers. Another thing that they did end up changing from when I originally got them was that they have gone from print on demand to just limited run. So one of the big issues lately was that they did a limited run of, I forget what exactly the product was, but it was something like, you can see some of the limited runs right now. Like there's Hatsune Miku, there is just all these gorgeous artworks for Secret Lair. Like if we go back to, what is Chaos Vault? Hold on. If we go down to Shop All, I think we can go back in time. Because it looks like there are a couple of secret layers that haven't completely sold out yet. But something like what was one of them that absolutely sold out super quickly? Like the Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate secret layers, I know sold out super quickly. Yes, it was specifically the Marvel ones. Like instantly sold out. Everyone was super annoyed, and everyone basically was like, you could have made way more money had it just been the old like print to order sort of thing. Thank you for reminding me, because I knew I had a feeling I wasn't going to find it. But yeah, Marvel was kind of a weird product. I kind of hate that they did it in that way. But if you are looking for, when they make the announcement for the secret layer, I would highly suggest for anyone who's looking to get if it's not a mechanically unique secret lair like the Street Fighter secret lair that I told you, you're going to have to be on the ball to get like the alternate art secret lairs, because they are going to sell out super quick. The only thing that saves the Marvel secret lair is that I know that they are most likely, there is no guarantee that they're going to do it, but they are very likely going to be reprinting the commanders in the Magic Universes Within treatment. Again, it is most likely, though. It is not guaranteed. Anyways. All this to say, Secret Lair kind of sucks at the moment, because I think, like, if I wanted to get a Secret Lair nowadays, I'd literally have to, like, ask for a day off just to be at my computer and try and snipe Q snipe the Secret Lair. So there is that. Anyways, PS5 syndrome, exactly. To close things out, though, if you have never played Magic before, and this set has got you excited, after everything that I've said, if you are looking to start playing Magic in preparation for this set, do yourself a favor, go to Steam, or Epic Games, or go to Google, look up MTG Arena. Okay? Or Magic Arena. Magic the Gathering Arena. And download it. It is a free client that you can download and that you can play, and it will teach you everything that you need to know to play Magic the Gathering for the first time. After playing it, after going through the tutorial and everything, if you still want to learn how to play paper Magic, I mean, go to your local game store, ask. Yeah, hold on. Magic Arena is loading for me right now. There we go. Magic Arena is a very simple client. It automates a lot of the simple stuff about Magic the Gathering. If after you find yourself sinking like 40 to 50 hours into it in a month, definitely go to your local game store, ask them what's the best way to play at their store, invest in some cards, and just get ready for when the Final Fantasy set releases. And that's really it. Anyways, I need to grind some currency for when the new set drops. Or not when the new set drops, but when the Final Fantasy set drops at this point. So, the hell? We're gonna clear out some dailies and then probably move on to Tokyo Extreme Racer.